תסלחו לי אם יותר נוח בשבילי לדבר אנגלית. כשאני מדבר באנגלית, לכל הפחות אני מבין מה שאני אומר. כולם לא, אבל בעברית אפילו אני לא מבין. בסדר. כבוד הרב שאול asked me to say a word about leadership. And if we take a look at Parashat HaShavuot, Parashat Ba'alotecha, we see it isn't easy to be a leader. To be a leader of Jews is even harder. In fact, it's impossible. Because we say, Hashem Ro'i, the Lord is my shepherd, but no Jew was ever a sheep. So it's very difficult to lead Jews. And Moshe Rabbeinu finds himself criticized, even by his own sister and brother. And it says, at that point where Miriam and Aaron speak not well of Moshe Rabbeinu, the Torah says, Moshe haya anav ma'od mikol adam asher al pnei ha'adama. Moshe had great humility. Let me ask you a simple question. Why does it say that here? I would expect the Torah to have told me that long ago, when Moshe Rabbeinu actually showed humility. When he saw the sneh bo'er ba'esh, and when HaKadosh Baruch Hu asked him to lead the Jewish people, he said, Mi anochi? Who am I? Hashem asked him again and again and again, and finally he said, Lo ish dvarim anochi, lo mitmol, lo mishilshom, ki kvad peh kvad lashon anochi. That was when Moshe Rabbeinu was anav ma'od. So why, months, years later, does it tell us davka in Parshat Ba'alotecha, she'ayish Moshe anav ma'od? Does any of you intend becoming a leader? Probably not after these words. And yet it is the greatest thing you can possibly do. Because when you take on a leadership role in the Jewish people, you discover that there are three kinds of Torah, not two. One kind of Torah is the Torah you learn in books. Let's call that generically Torah shebichtav. There's another kind of Torah you learn from your teachers. Let's call that generically Torah sheba'al peh. But there is a third kind of Torah that you learn from life itself. And that is the Torah you learn when you lead. Moshe Rabbeinu, prior to this moment, had a crisis, a mashber, mo'od amok, right in here, in the innermost core of his being. You remember what happened? The people complained. That's what they did for a living. They complained. And Moshe Rabbeinu says, I can't carry this burden alone. And then listen to these words, scary words. Im kacha at oseh li, he says to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, if this is what leading the Jewish people is going to be like, hargeni naharog, please kill me. Im matzati chen v'necha v'al era barati. If you have any rachmanis from me, kill me now. And let me not look on this evil fate that you have given me. When you become a leader, people criticize you. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to Yoshua, Moshe Rabbeinu's successor, in Yoshua Perek Aleph, chazak ve'ematz. Be strong and of good courage, ki ata tanchil et ha'am hazeh, et haaretz, because you will lead this people into the land. Then in the next pasuk he says, rak chazak ve'ematz mo'od. But be very strong and exceptionally courageous to keep all this Torah. How come? HaKadosh Baruch Hu is telling us that spiritual leadership is harder than military leadership. Military leadership, to lead an army, all you need to do is be chazak ve'ematz. But to be a spiritual leader, rak chazak ve'ematz ma'od. Why? Because when you're a military leader, you and the people you lead all want the same thing. But when you're a spiritual leader, you have to lead people to want something different, to aim higher, to set new goals, to reach places they don't particularly want to be, and you have to show them what to want. That is what makes it very hard. And that is what makes any spiritual leader open to many criticisms. And when you are open to those criticisms, you can sometimes suffer from yeush. Hargeni na harog. And what you learn from life, not from books, is that that moment which is the hardest in your life, the worst moment in your life, is also the best moment in your life. How come? Because that is when you discover that it's not about you at all. It's about what you believe in. It's about what you fight for. It's what you commit yourself to. And it's only when you've reached this despair of imatzadi chen benecha hargeni naharog that you reach that level where you realize that I am nothing. I don't even want to carry this on. But the cause is great. The ideals are good ideals, great ideals. The people I am leading may be complaining now, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu chose them. And therefore it's no longer about me. When you go through those difficult moments in life, you get what in Hasidut they call bitul hayesh. You don't matter at all. What matters is what you stand for. And that's why you can no longer say Hargani Naharo, because if they defeat you, that doesn't matter. But if they defeat you, they defeat the cause. They defeat what you fought for. And you can't let that happen. So you continue, but this time with no yesh. זה לא דבר של האגו. זה דבר של החזון, הייעוד, התפקיד, המחוז, and you carry on. And that is why immediately after this big crisis in Moshe Rabbeinu's life, it says, Anav ma'od, mikol adam asher al pnei adama. צריך להבין את זה, אבל אני לא יודע איך לומר את זה בעברית. C.S. Lewis, an English writer, wrote, what is humility? It is not thinking less of yourself, it is thinking of yourself less. Do you understand? זה לא שאני קטן בעיניי. זה משהו אחר. אני לא חושב על עצמי כלל. אני לא שייך לזה. אני רק כלי של הקדוש ברוך הוא לביצוע את המשימה, כן. And when you reach that point, you have become רק חזק ואמץ מאוד. Because no one can get at you anymore, because you already don't count. The cause counts. And that is anivut. And that is why Moshe Rabbeinu didn't mind when he was criticized by his own brother and his own sister. Because he was no longer under attack. He's no longer part of the equation. He can stand outside and he can understand. Yes, I understand why Aaron and Miriam are jealous of me or critical of me. After all, Miriam saved my life. Aaron has been my faithful partner, and I'm number one, they're only number 2 and 3. I understand this. Because I stand outside, they're not attacking me, they're attacking what I stand for. That is why when you're a leader, the worst moment in your life is also the best moment in your life, because you understand that we don't count for anything. What counts is the cause. Friends, I wish I were here for longer than 30 minutes so I can find out what you're doing and who you are. But this I can tell you for sure. That right now, the Jewish world is dividing into 2. There are people who are getting more and more Jewish and less engaged with the world, and people who are more and more engaged with the world, and they're getting less and less Jewish. It's happening in one way in Israel, in another way in Chutz La'aretz. And the number of people who can hold this together, who can be passionate in our commitment to Torah, Avodah, Mitzvot, Ma'asiyot, to Emunah, and at the same time engage with the world. Not to criticize people, not to feel I am above those people. Afilu Reikan Shebi Yisrael, Malay Mitzvot, Kerimon. Even these Chilonim, they're holy. They don't know it yet, but they'll know it one day. To hold this together, to hold, on the one hand, Chevra, and on the other hand, Emunah, it's difficult. And that is why it needs you. It needs you to be willing to lead and to show, and not say, I'm great, so I shall be the leader. On the contrary, the greatest of the leaders are the ones who thought less of themselves. Yeshayahu Hanavi said, Ish Tmei Safatayim Anochi. Yirmiyahu Hanavi said, Hine lo yochalti daber kinar Anochi. I'm not up to this, but the cause is so great that I will lead. At the end of the day, the test of leadership is stated in the Torah right at the beginning of Moses' life. Vayigdal Moshe, vayetze el Achav, vayal besivlotam, v'yifen ko v'cho, he saw an Egyptian hitting a Jew, v'yifen ko v'cho, vayal ki enish. He saw that there was no one there. Does that phrase, does that mean pshuto k'mashma'o? He saw there was no one there. What were they doing? They were building a store city. They were building. Have you ever seen a building site with only 2 people? Yeah, actually, our builders are like that. They never come. Our builders are like Mashiach. We expect them every day, and they can never come. This was a building site. There were a lot of people there. The 2 Jews he met the next day saw what he was doing the day before. So what does it mean? Vayifen ko v'cho vayal ki enish. It means, b'makom she'en anashim hishtadel liyot ish. He looked here and there and he saw no one was willing to do anything about it. All of them happy to complain about it, but no one willing to do something about it. If you see something wrong and you complain, then you're not a leader. If you see something wrong and you say, let me be one of those who does something about it, and even vayifen ko v'cho vayal ki enish, even if there are very few people who will come with you, nonetheless, if you say something wrong, let me put it right, let me work with others to help put it right, that makes you a leader. And out of that you grow. Out of that you learn what is anivut. You learn that something is bigger than you. And that is the essence of leadership. May HaKadosh Baruch Hu send his blessing in all you do. You're a very special group. And I just simply give you a very simple bracha. The bracha that Moshe Rabbeinu gave his Talmidim. Yehi ratzon shetishre shechina b'maaseh yedechem. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Now, שאלות.
אוקיי, אני, ברשותך הרב, אני אשאל את השאלה הראשונה, הם ישאלו את השנייה. כדי להיות מנהיג של ציבור, I'll ask it in Hebrew, okay? כדי להיות מנהיג של ציבור, אתה צריך לתרגם את המסר שלך לשפה הציבורית. האם זה לא פשרה, ויתור, כיפוף? כי אם תעמוד על הר גבוה ותצעק אחריי, no one will come.
זה פשרה? אם זה פשרה, אני למדתי את זה מהקדוש ברוך הוא. רבי ישמעאל היה אומר, דיברה תורה כלשון בני אדם. הקדוש ברוך הוא is bigger than us, right? And yet he speaks a language. הוא מדבר שפה שאנחנו יכולים להבין. לא רק שאנחנו יכולים להבין, אלא גם כן להעריך את זה. זה לא בשביל הקדוש ברוך הוא. הוא לא צריך לנו. זה, התורה הזאת לכם. זה לטובתנו, לא לטובת הקדוש ברוך הוא. אם אפילו הקדוש ברוך הוא צריך לדבר שפה שאנחנו יכולים להבין, זה הדרך הנכונה בשבילנו, כן? בסדר.
אמרת שמשה רבנו, ככל שהוא ספג הרבה ביקורת, גם בסוף מהאחים שלו, ואז דווקא אז התורה אומרת שהוא ענב, והוא שם את עצמו, את האישיות שלו בצד, והוא הלך עם המטרה, נכון?
כן.
אבל השאלה היא מתי מנהיג צריך לומר, טוב, כנראה אם יש ביקורת ועוד מאנשים כל כך קרובים וכל כך הרבה, אולי באמת הדרך לא נכונה, אולי אני צריך להתייחס לביקורת עצמה.
Maybe I'm wrong.
יש סיפור מאוד מעניין. בבראשית, פרק ל"ח. וירד יהודה, מעשה של תמר ויהודה. מאוד מעניין. אנחנו חושבים שהגיבור של כל הסיפור הזה, וישב, מקץ, ויגש, ויחי, הוא יוסף. יוסף הצדיק. אבל יוסף הצדיק עלה רק למדרגה של משנה למלך. והגיבור האמיתי היה יהודה, שהוא אב של מלכי ישראל. למה? אני חושב שיהודה היה הבעל תשובה הראשון. הוא הראשון שבכל תנ"ך שהוא מודה לתמר צדקה ממני. היא צודקת ואני חייב, ואני אשם. ובאמת, אפילו אמא של יהודה ידעה את זה, אבל לא הכיר את העומק. הוא קרא אותו יהודה, זאת הפעם אודה את השם. יהודה מלשון תודה. אבל יהודה זה אותו מילה של להתוודות. להכיר שאני לא צודק. להיות מנהיג, אתה צריך לבחון את הביקורת. זה ביקורת לא נכונה, סתם לשון הרש, סתם שנאה וקנאה ותחרות, או ביקורת נכונה. אולי אני לא צודק. וזה דבר קשה, זה לא קל. שמנהיג, שהכל מכבדים אותו, הוא מתוודה ברבים, אני לא צודק. סליחה, תסלחו לי. אבל זה גם כן גיבור, כן? משה רבנו היה מנהיג של ישראל. אבל חותן של משה, יתרו בא וראה אותו משתדל להיות מנהיג לבד, ואמר, לא טוב הדבר שאתה עושה. והוא הסכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא הסכים. להיות מנהיג צריך להיות גיבור מספיק להתוודות ולומר, סליחה, אנחנו צריכים ללכת בכיוון אחר. כן?
הרב דיבר על ביטול היש אל מול המטרה. מה מקומו של הפרט? איך לא הופכים להיות מגדל בבל או רוסיה הקומוניסטית? איך נשארים את הפרט ואת כל אדם שחשוב?
עוד פעם. במילים אחרות.
I speak in English.
Yeah.
So you spoke about casting the person towards the cause. So how do you keep what is there a place for personal desire, for personal man?
100%. One of the deepest statements in the whole of the Mishnah Sanhedrin, Perek Dalet, when one person makes many coins in one mint, they all come out the same. HaKadosh Baruch Hu makes every one of them, one of us, in the same Tzelem Udumut, and we all come out different. And you remember the Rashi Divrei Chazal on the phrase that Moshe Rabbeinu used when he asked to appoint a successor, Hashem Elokei Haruchot L'chol Basar, Manei Alayhem, Manhig Sheyachol Lisbol, Kol Echad Ve'echad Levid Dato. The Rambam speaks about this in Book 2, Perek Arba'im Shel Moreh HaNevuchim, that a leader has to understand the differences between each person and at the same time bring them together in a common cause. That is how you build a Mishkan. Everyone brought something different, but they brought something to the same project. What makes Migdal Bavel and Avdut B'Mitzrayim not acceptable to us is because it treats everyone the same. It makes no space for difference. Kavtavti Pam Sefer, slightly Garam Machloket V'Taromet, Ba'anglit ze nikra dignity of difference. Be'ivrit kavod ha'shoni. V'zeh ikav yesod shel Yahadut. We care about individuals. And a great leader takes individuals seriously. But a great leader takes other people more seriously than he takes himself. Yeah. Yeah. אני לא יכול לשמוע. Loud, but others we call Rash Gadol.
So today, the reality is that the nation is divided between Israel and, you can say, the States, England, and basically Chutz La'aretz. And you spoke a lot about leadership. And I want to know, in your opinion, what is the main act of leadership we are supposed to do as peoples that really care from the future of Klal Yisrael towards the separation, or to try to unite the separation between the two main communities?
Let me make a vidui. I never wanted to be a leader, ever. I never wanted to be a rabbi. That was not my ambition in life. But I met a leader when I was 20 years old. His name was Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson. He was the Lubavitcher Rebbe. He challenged me to go and lead. So I thought to myself, Mativo shel Ubazeh, what kind of man is this? And then I saw, very simple, he loved every Jew. I think Moshe Rabbeinu also loved every Jew. He didn't like every Jew, but he loved every Jew. You have to ask which rabbis in the world today do Amcha feel love us. Let me give you an example. It's a difficult example. In Israel, for various reasons, there is a distance, a merchak again, between Rabbanim and Amcha. And after, when all the suicide bombings were happening 13 years ago, 2002, we decided we have to come to Israel. But I have a big problem coming to Israel as a Rav, because Amcha does not want to know what is a Rav. So I came with Chazanim and a Makela, and we made music. I didn't give them one drasha. We said, let's sing together. And this touched people. It touched chilonim gemurim. When I went back to England, I told them, you'll have to translate this, somebody. I said, I think that secular Israelis are the only people who think that secular Israelis are secular. Hem ma'aminim b'nei ma'aminim. And how do I know this? Because we went into hospitals, we went into community centers, we went into the people who were in the front line in the Lebanese border and Sderot. We went to victims of terror, and what did we do? We sang with them. We sang with them. And they loved it. And I said the most secular Israelis wanted something from a chief rabbi that even the most religious Jews in England don't want from a chief rabbi. What did they want from me? A bracha. That's what they wanted. Give us a bracha. And I'm supposed to think these are secular Israelis. Hem ma'aminim b'nei ma'aminim. You have to go out non-judgmentally. You have to say, HaKadosh Baruch Hu knew the worst about all of us, and yet still, He chose us, and still He loves us. And you have to do this in the most non-judgmental way. Hold them high, hold yourself low. Is there a distinction like this in Ivrit between two words that sound the same and are completely opposite? Righteous and self-righteous. Is there a distinction? How would you say that? Tzidkut and? Tzedkanut. What is the difference? A righteous person makes you feel big. A self-righteous person makes you feel small. That's the difference. We need Rabbanim who make ordinary Jews feel big. And that is very special. And wherever you do this in the world, whether it's in Israel or in Chutz La'aretz, and you can be talking to Orthodox Jews, Reformed Jews, secular Jews, it makes an impact. It even makes an impact on atheist non-Jews. I don't know whether he came to Israel at all. We have a big atheist in England called Richard Dawkins. He is HaKadosh Baruch Hu's favorite atheist. He's, you know, a verbrennter, Satmar atheist, you know, a real glatt kosher atheist. And the BBC asked me to do siach with him. So my preparation for this was not to read books proving the existence of God. My preparation was to be mikabel al atzmi lehov et ha'atheist hazeh, just to love him. And he felt it, and he was much nicer to me than he was to the Archbishop of Canterbury. So if you go and you love people, then you lift them. And Hashem does the rest. Okay? But these people are very rare. And that is the tafkid that is waiting for every one of you. And I think you will know how to do it. A, because you are very special to come here, and B, because you have a very special Rav Shelo, who lives this and believes it and breathes it. Thank you. I think probably we have to go. צריך לסיים, אבל השם יברכך בכל מעשה ידיך.
תודה רבה לרב. אני רק רוצה להגיד לרב שיש תורה משלו שאני מוכר הרבה זמן גם פה בישיבה. את השאלה היפה שלך על למה לרמב"ם יש 13 עיקרים ולא 14 עיקרים, שהרי לכאורה הרמב"ם בנוי על 14, יד החזקה ו14 כללים וכדומה. התשובה של הרב שנאמרה פה בישיבה הרבה מאוד פעמים היא שלרמב"ם יש 14 עיקרים ולא 13. העיקר ה-14 לא מופיע בהקדמת המשנה לסנהדרין, אלא מופיע בהלכות תשובה לרמב"ם. בפרק ה' בהלכות תשובה לרמב"ם, שרשות נתונה לאדם לעשות טוב ולעשות רע והבחירה חופשית, ודבר זה עיקר גדול בתורה וכדומה. כלומר, יש 14 עיקרים, 13 עוסקים בקדוש ברוך הוא, ואחד בבני האדם, והנה השיעור שקיבלנו. תודה רבה.
תודה רבה.
באמת כבוד גדול היה לנו לארח את הרב, ואני מקווה שהרב הטמיע בכם את הרצון להיות ברמה מסוימת של מנהיגות.
תודה רבה.
תודה.